Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel called Zuzanareacts, where you help me learn all about India whilst I share my point of view as a Slovak person from Central Europe. So in today's video, what we will be looking at is the unseen truth about India. So obviously all of us have perceptions about what the different nations are like, what they're not like. And I would be curious to watch this video with you. You will see my first time reaction about what I think about India, and hopefully we can have a nice conversation about this in the comments below. So without further ado, let's dive right into this video.
What is the first image comes to your mind when you hear the name of India? Like this or this, right? Because your media mostly present such similar images of India in front of you.
Okay, just to pause right there, I think that this is pretty accurate. That is, obviously, I'm speaking as a person from Central Europe. I lived in the UK for most of my time, but yeah, I would say this is pretty accurate what we would perhaps imagine, or I would perhaps imagine under being, viewing what India might be like.
Okay, let me show you something different than your media. If I say this is India, will you believe me? Maybe not, because most probably you have never seen India in this way. But actually, this is real India which has been hidden from you.
Oh,
The slums, busy and chaotic cities you see on TV or mobile is only a smallest part of
that is
India.
true. I would.
India is actually pretty normal. And this is the one thing that a lot of people are don't understand about India. Okay, let me show you some major cities of India.
Wow. I mean, I haven't thought of, and obviously I can't say that India is not modern, but I haven't really, I guess when you're in your small own country bubble in your personal life, you're not really thinking about what other nations are like and what it means to live there and what it looks like there, especially perhaps if you don't have much interest in going there, visiting or exploring, which actually many people do these days. So let's continue.
This is Mumbai. This is Delhi. This is Kolkata. This is Gurgaon. This is Noida. This is Hyderabad. This is Pune. This is Bangalore. This is Chennai. This
Wow.
is Surat.
By the way, I actually used to work with people from Chennai, so I'm surprised that it's so super modern. I had no idea, or like I would ever think about like how it looks there, but man, it's impressive, you guys.
This is Thane. And there are many such modern cities in India. Okay, let's come to the rural part of India, and I'm pretty sure that according to you, the Indian villages are look something like this or this, right? But actually, this is not even 5% part of Indian villages. More than 95% of Indian villages are look something like this.
I mean, look at those houses. They are humongous. I mean, that's certainly not how villages in Slovakia look like. The houses are big, but not as big.
Due to the large population of India, the Indian villages are also so big. Look at this. This is not a city or town, but it's a village
Wow.
called Madhapur, located in the Indian state of Gujarat. After a lot of struggle in 1947, when India got independence from the British Empire, India's economy was only $25 billion. Even in 1991, India's economy was less than the economy of Paris and London.
Okay.
And now India has more economy than the France and the UK. In 2014,
Wow.
India's economy was
Impressive.
ranked 10th in the world, but now in 2022, India has become the fifth largest economy in the world with a huge GDP of 3.
I mean, that's pretty impressive, you guys. I mean, congrats. I think you've been doing something incredibly great, whereas the West feels like it's been going on the downward spiral. So let's continue to see what else is out there up for India.
$3.5 trillion. In just last 8 years, India has overtaken five major economies like Canada, Russia,
That's
Italy,
pretty
Brazil,
impressive.
France, and the
Really
UK. And
impressive.
this is really impressive.
This to me just means that you have a lots of very smart people in the country leading it, and perhaps since you started to become independent, I think people maybe, and I would love to actually know what it's been like since India has been independent, and if that has really, like, it looks like it has facilitated this growth for you and hopefully unleashed a lot of power in people. They were able to, drive the country to where it is. It's super impressive.
India is the fastest growing major economy in the world, and according to IMF, India is set to surpass Germany and Japan to become the world's third largest economy by 2027. India is already the third largest economy in the world in terms of PPP GDP with a huge GDP of $11.7 trillion dollars. And by 2030, India's nominal GDP is expected to be $8.5 trillion, but India's potential is much more than
It does look like you're becoming the next biggest economy out there. And I mean, I've been reading about it, so I'm sure you are, but it's just really impressive.
this. After the USA, Russia, and China, the Indian military is the fourth most powerful military in the world.
Wow.
And with a budget of $76.6 billion, India has third largest defense budget in the world.
Wow, I had no idea. Would you be able to let me know in the comments, like why? I mean, obviously, India is really, really a massive country. I just wonder what's driving that huge militarization of your country.
Over 1.45 million active personnel, over 1.15 million reserve personnel, and over 2.52 million paramilitary. The Indian military is the largest military in the world with a total
Wow.
5.13 million military personnel.
Why is that? Why is that? Can you please help me understand in the comment section below? Thank you.
India is also a nuclear armed country. The
Wow.
country is holds some of the most powerful nuclear weapons in the world, such as intercontinental ballistic missiles, Agni 5, Agni 6, K5, and K6, which has a massive range of 5,000 km to 12,000 km. Even some experts say that India hidden a dangerous weapon called Agni 7 or Surya, which has a massive range of 12,000 km to 16,000 km.
I mean, this only makes me think like that Indian population is just incredibly smart, and since its proper independence, like the power of people has been properly unleashed and materialized clearly. It's just wow.
There are only four countries in the world that have anti-satellite weapons, and India is one of them. India has capability to destroy the communication system of any country in the world by destroying their satellite in the space. The Indian Space Research Organization (ISRO) is
It's interesting because my perception of India, I would imagine that there's lots of like very nice, calm, lovely people. Yeah, it has the biggest weapons out there. Very interesting.
among the world's top five most successful space agencies. ISRO has successfully launched over 386 foreign satellites for 36 different countries, including satellites of USA, Germany, France, and the UK,
Wow.
and successfully launched over 134 Indian origin satellites. There are many misconceptions about India have been born in the world, especially in the West, and that's why many people make the mistake of underestimating India.
So, why do you think that is? Why do you think that the image of India has been perhaps misleadingly portrayed in the Western world? Let me know in the comments below.
Example, in 2013, when
The
India
reason why I'm
announced
asking
that
is
India will
because the
also
textile
send its
industry is,
satellite and
I
rover
guess,
to
by
Mars,
far
the New York Times made fun
the
of India
industry
like this.
that
But after in just 1 year in
basically is
2014,
kind of
India became the first country in the world to
what
reach
is the
Mars in the
word
first
I'm looking
attempt.
for? That is
And just few years
doing
later,
the
in
bad things to the
2017,
environment. That's
India
what I
created an
thought.
incredible world
No,
record by launching
pollution
104
is the word.
satellites from a
So the
single rocket.
textile
And then
industry
India
is
made fun of
apparently
New
the
York
biggest
Times like this.
polluter.
This is called fake
So
revenge.
I guess
India is among the world's
yeah,
four
let's
countries
see.
that have successfully reached Mars.
I guess, everywhere in the world you'll get the rivalism, and especially when you are perceived to be the underdog. But hey, the revenge, I presume, is sweet, huh?
And Moon both. Other are USA, Russia, and China. And among the five countries that have their own GPS navigation system, other are USA, Russia, China, and Japan. After USA and China, India has third highest number of
Wow, this
billionaires
is
in the
really
world.
cool.
As of 2022, India has total 237 billionaires.
Wow.
The Indian stock market is the fastest
I would actually wonder what are these billionaires like? What are the industries that they operate? Like, how did they become the billionaires? If you have any thoughts, feel free to share with me in the comments below.
Fastest growing major stock market in the world. Even two out of the world's 10 largest stock exchanges are Indian. And India is said to be world's the largest stock market by 2030 with a total expected market cap of over $11 trillion. The world's fastest growing startup ecosystem in
Interesting.
2014, India had only 400 startups, and as of 2022, India has over
Wow.
77,000 startups, which makes
Wow.
India globally the third largest startup ecosystem in the world after USA and China, as well as India has third highest number of unicorns in the world. The country is home to the 108 unicorns with a total valuation of $341 billion.
Impressive.
India is already among the top 5 most industrialized countries with a total output of $900 billion, and it is said to be third most industrialized country by 2030 with an expected industrial output of more than $3 trillion. Currently, India is the eighth largest exporter in the world. Total export of India was $675 billion in 2021, and the country is on the way to become the third largest exporter in the world by 2030 with an expected export of
Wow.
more than $2 trillion.
Impressive. Impressive.
India is emerging as factory of the world due to its large skilled workforce. Even in 2021, India overtaken USA and became the second most attractive manufacturing destination
Interesting. It does feel like India is overtaking the role of China that we have seen in the last over a decade. So I wonder if this is what's happening. Let me know.
globally, second only to China. Production. India is the largest producer of tractor, two-wheeler, spice, dairy products, milk, ginger, turmeric, and sugar.
Oh, okay.
Second largest producer of smartphone, steel, cement, vegetable, fruit,
Okay.
rice, wheat, and cotton.
Oh,
Third largest producer of electricity, renewable energy, gems, and jewelry. Fourth
okay.
largest producer of cars and trucks.
Okay.
The Indian textile industry is the second largest textile industry in the world with a total valuation of over $225 billion.
Okay, interesting to know.
The country is well known as hub of technology. The annual revenue of Indian IT industry is more than $200 billion, and it is said to be 350 to $400 billion by 2025 and more than $1 trillion by 2030. Also known as the pharmacy of the world, the country's massive pharmaceutical industry is the source of more than 50% of global demand for various
Very
vaccines.
interesting.
India is the largest provider of generic drugs globally. Over 40% generic drugs in the USA and over 25% of all medicine in the UK are supplied by India.
Okay.
It is difficult to imagine how world would be able to combat AIDS without India because globally over 80% of antiretroviral drugs which is using to combat AIDS are supplied by India.
Interesting.
Known as the potential superpower, India is the second most populous country in the world and its potential is unlimited. The country has largest young force in the world, more than 50% of its population below the age of 25 and more than 65% of its population below the age of 35.
Okay, so it
And this
sounds
young
good.
power is helping India to become an economic superpower like USA, China, and European Union. But still, if you think that India is a poor country, then let me tell you that Indian household own the largest amount of gold, 25,000
Wow.
tons to 30,000 tons, which is worth over
Beautiful.
$1.5 trillion to $2 trillion, and it is more than the economy of Australia, South Korea, and Italy.
Wow.
Even Indian temple alone have 4,000 to 5,000 tons of gold, which is worth more than $300 billion and is more than the economy of New Zealand and Finland.
Wow.
Indians are just love golds and jewelry, and that's why India is the biggest consumer of gold, silver, jewelry, and gems. Many people in the world, mostly in the West, use HDI and per capita to criticize India, but they forget that India is the fastest growing major economy in the world. Currently, India's HDI is considered in the medium category, which is expected to move to the high human development category by 2025.
Wow.
Even today,
Wow.
14 Indian states are comes in the high human development category and 13 Indian states are very close to achieve this.
Wow.
And many Indian states have more GDP per capita than the per capita of many European countries. Well, India is 7 to 10 times cheaper than the Europe and America.
I mean, You guys, this is really impressive. I had no idea. I was just looking at the jewelry industry. I was thinking that's really nice. Obviously, a girl likes jewelry, so it's very, very cool. But man, this is super impressive. And I was just been thinking about, like, I'm from Slovakia, and we've also been ruled by our fellow neighbors, Hungarians, for centuries. And we do have that kind of mentality of a kind of a slave nation, to be fair. And I quite like what you have done with your country, because I don't know, like, I think the people are just really proud and they must have skyrocketed the growth. And I love that. I love to watch that. It's very inspirational. I wish my country was like yours, to be honest.
India is just like China. As China developed itself in the past, today India is developing in the same way. According to recent UN study, the country has lifted more than 415 million people out of poverty since
Oh,
2005,
that's
and
interesting.
according to World Bank,
That's interesting.
poverty in India has reduced by 12.3% between 2011 to 2019.
So here I would love to ask, what is actually the reality when it comes to poverty in India? Obviously, it's a big country, but so these stats sometimes might be misleading as to how people feel. So, like, how, from your personal experience, wherever you are in India, how do you feel like? Uh, is there still like a lot of poverty, or you feel like everyone is kind of at some sort of a starting level which takes them out of poverty and they can lead a decent life? I'd love to know in the comments below. That's
From 22.5% in 2011 to only 10% in
yeah, that's
2019.
massive. um,
And according to recent study of IMF, India has almost wiped out extreme poverty.
wow.
The percentage of people living in the extreme poverty in India is only 0.8% now. The country is
I mean,
home to
it's
the rich
still a lot.
culture and spirituality.
Very-
No country in the world as diverse as India. There are 28 states and 8 union territories in India, and they all have their own culture, music, language.
I mean, this is so beautiful. I actually never visited India. I have a really good friend of mine who lives there. But I mean, all of this is just so beautiful, you guys. Oops.
Languages, races, and food. And no country in the world is more colorful than India. Even
Well,
India has entire colorful cities like Jaipur, the city of pink, Udaipur,
this
the
is
city of white,
beautiful.
Jodhpur, the city of
Oh
blue,
my God, it's
Jaisalmer, the city
so
of gold, and
amazing.
Kanyakumari, the city of seven colors.
Wow.
India is whole world itself. India has snow like Greenland, beauty like
Wow.
Switzerland, desert like Arab, wildlife like Africa, beautiful cities like
Wow.
Europe, forest
Oh
like
my gosh.
Brazil, and mountains like Japan. Even India has a white desert also.
Right.
100,000 of beautiful
Wow.
temples, historical monuments, incredible architecture sites, extremely beautiful hill station like
Actually, I studied history, so this is for me like, wow. I mean, I've never really thought about that. So my personal drive has been always the Western world. The Eastern world has perhaps never taken my fancy that much, but this is amazing. Like, I'm just so impressed. I wish I could just go for a trip there right now.
Morali, Nainital, Simla, and Spiti Valley. India is just incredible.
Wow.
India is transforming itself as global economic powerhouse. The country is home to the highest number of under construction mega projects in the world. Project Bharatmala cost $140 billion. Project Sagarmala cost
Wow.
$130 billion. Project DMIC cost $100 billion. Projects 100 Smart City cost
Wow.
$100 billion. These are few big projects out of them, as well as the country is spending a massive amount of $1.5 trillion to modernize and develop its infrastructure. Along with this, seeing the growth of country's urbanization, India is also creating many new and futuristic cities like Gift City,
Wow.
Dholera SIR, and Amravati Smart City.
Wow. I mean, this
The
sounds
fastest growing
so
major
wow.
economy, the fastest growing major stock market, the fastest growing startup ecosystem, healthcare, technology, infrastructure, and industries. India is performing excellent, and this is what the world should know about India.
So this is really impressive. As I mentioned throughout the video, I never really given India that much thought before, but I've noticed them growing in their power and becoming that, perhaps the almost the biggest economy in the world. And it really caught my attention, and that's kind of the reason why I wanted to learn and learn more about it with your support. But this is impressive. I never really thought of India that way. Obviously, I worked with Indian people in my past, and it's been interesting. It has been, I'm not going to lie, challenging, because I think East and West, we have different ways of approaching work and culture. And I feel like here we are very much not hierarchical. So I've worked in the UK for most of my career, and it's kind of like you're not afraid of hierarchy, whereas when I worked with Indian people before, I felt like it was very hierarchical. They were afraid to ask questions, and and did not challenge things back. And I always wonder why that is. And maybe if you would love to share some thoughts in the comments below, I'd love to hear. So, I mean, it's impressive. I congratulate you guys. I come from a nation that also has been suppressed for centuries. And unfortunately, our mentality, perhaps based on what I've just seen, is not as great as yours. And I wish you guys all the best of luck. And I hope you're gonna, become what you're set yourself to become. And and that's it from today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and please share your thoughts, comments in the comments below, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.